What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Um, I don't expect a lot of people to be on this broadcast. It's kind of middle of the day. You know, people are probably still at work. But I wanted to. I had to talk about the Lenovo. Oh boy, I watched the entire Lenovo announcement, and you know, I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with it. The Phab the Phab Plus, the one that they released before, it didn't hit anywhere in the U.S. They did all these announcements for it and everything, and then they didn't even bring it to the U.S. But so now they have the Phab, the Lenovo Phab 2 Pro, and some other devices, and the Lenovo Phab 2 Pro is, it's supposed to be this amazing device. And I look at the specs on it, and I don't see much that is too impressive. I mean, it's a nice device. I'm not going to make this video and then hate on it and say, oh, it's a horrible device, because it's not. I don't have it yet. And, I don't really plan on getting it, to be honest. If I get the Lenovo Phab Plus 2 Pro or whatever, I don't even know that it's, I wasn't too impressed with it. I was excited because I thought they were going to bring something really exciting to the table. But after watching the entire event, I mean, I think a lot of people might be like, well, this Phab 2 Pro, I wasn't too impressed with it. I think a lot of people might not be too excited about it. Some people see devices and they just get super excited about it and they just jump on board and say, oh, it's the best. And some people really weigh it out. Like, I think if you're a techie, you're weighing this out. Like, is this really going to be good? They have different variants of the Phab device. And I just wasn't too impressed with it because it's a 6.4-inch display. It's got the processor. Now, some people might not understand the processor, but the processor is an octa-core processor. It's a Snapdragon 652. So when you see that device, you should think primarily about the Snapdragon 810, because that's the kind of performance you're going to get. Now, again, this is only the techie side, so a lot of people might say, hey, this is going to be not really good. I've heard other reviewers review the Snapdragon 652 and say that it's not good, but basically it's just the Snapdragon 810 rebranded. You should be getting even better performance out of the Snapdragon 652, but the Lenovo Phab 2 Pro, I just didn't jump up and down about it. I like the build quality, the way it looks, I should say. I like the 6.4-inch display, but that's kind of where it stopped for me. Questions are open. If you guys want to type a question there, I did turn on the Q&A. If you missed it, I'll try to answer some of the questions that you have, or just any question about tech, really. I'm multitasking here, or trying to. But the Lenovo Phab 2 Pro, I didn't jump up and down about it. I just wasn't really excited about it. I thought I would be, but after actually watching that entire event, if you watched the entire event, leave a comment, or the question. Like I said, the questions are open, so you guys will be able to talk directly and ask questions. I just wasn't too impressed with it, man. It looks good, and but I have other devices that can perform, or that can perform just like the Lenovo device, and I have other phones that I think are probably going to be better. I don't know yet. I've got some exclusive devices coming from overseas. One of them will be here on June 11th, and I'm pretty excited about it. But let's talk about the Moto Z. The Moto Z. Now, when I was watching the broadcast, I was like, well, the Moto Z is pretty hot, but the modular thing, I don't know. The G5 is a modular device, and it's not taking off. The modular products, the modular add-ons that they have, those modular devices that you add on, they get kind of pricey. And who is going to want to chug around a bunch of different parts to their phone? I don't think that a lot of people will. They're saying that the battery life on the Moto Z without that extra battery add-on or the extra additional parts. I will say about the Moto Z that the snap-on pieces that they have, most of them have batteries in them. So that's actually pretty nice. But other than that, I think that's kind of where it stops for me. The Moto Z looks good. It's actually 5.1 millimeters in thickness. It is a stunning looking device, but after the looks, what stands out about it? What is so great about the Moto Z? Now what we're going to see next is we're going to see a bunch of companies that already have demo versions of it. They're going to tell you it's fantastic. They're going to tell you it's well worth the money. They're going to tell you a bunch of stuff. But until you, the consumer, get it in hand, questions are open. I turned on questions if you guys want to type a question or just make a statement or something. If you saw the Lenovo event, you can questions. Q&A is open. You can submit your questions down there live. So yeah, the Moto Z is stunning. I can't say that it's not. It looks amazing. But what after that? What's next? What's going to be next for the Moto Z after the looks? The snap-on modular stuff that they have, some people might get excited about that, but again, the average consumer, most people just, they buy the phone and then that's where it stops. They don't do anything else. I don't see a lot of people buying modular parts for their phone. They're going to tell you, they might feel like, now I know that I'm on the techie side, but I'm also on the consumer side. Now most people, even I, didn't want to purchase extra items for my G5. I just felt like I didn't want to. I carry a backpack, obviously, with cameras and laptops and tablets and phones. I probably have like 4 phones in my backpack at all times. Definitely have my MacBook and at least 1 tablet and a bunch of battery packs and things like that. But when it came to the G5, I still felt like those accessories that they were offering just wasn't something that I want to pay for. The camera was, I think it was 70 bucks, I think it was. And the VR was 200. The 360 cam is 200. That gets kind of pricey. So I'm really curious to see how the Moto Z prices their modular parts for the actual add-ons. It's going to be, because I think they're going to have to compete with the G line, LG, when it comes to pricing their parts. Now, obviously, their parts on the Moto Z are a lot more appealing to me than the ones that came on the G5. I got to admit, snapping on and pulling off the back or the bottom of your G5, that can be kind of a headache compared to what Motorola has done, where they got the technology where they just snap it to the back of the phone, it takes over. And I will say, the speaker, I'm doing good. The speaker is really nice. The snap-on part of the speaker where they snap it on, that's really hot because it just snaps on. It's magnetic, and then boom, you've got an extended speaker. He demoed it in the live broadcast. If you didn't see the demo of the snap-on parts, you know, Moto Mods is what they're calling it. It was actually pretty impressive. I was pretty excited about it to have Moto Mods. And my only concern would be the Moto Z is a stunning looking device, but do I want to buy parts to snap on to the back of the phone? It's going to make it bigger. It's going to make it heavier. It basically turns it back into every other phone that we have, which is a not slim. You know, but the thing about the Moto Z, each one of those parts I think has a battery in it. The Moto Z, they didn't give much information about it. They kind of just threw it on us at the end of the broadcast. They primarily focused on the Phab, the Lenovo Phab 2 Pro. The specs on the Pro are impressive. 1.8 octa-core processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, 6.4-inch IPS LCD display, 16 megapixel primary camera, and the one on the front is an 8 megapixel. And it runs Marshmallow, obviously. So, you know, it's going to be something that's impressive. It's 10 millimeters thick, though. and it's going to be a weighty device. Now the price is $499. It's got Wi-Fi, dual band, obviously AC, which is pretty nice. It's a Quad HD display, and it runs the Snapdragon 615, like I spoke of earlier. But one thing, it does have an IR sensor on it, and the battery is 4,050 milliamps. So this thing is going to be a battery beast, hopefully. You don't see, we're not really seeing a lot of Quad HD phones with big batteries like that. I think the S7 Edge is a Quad HD display that has a really big battery that actually works. It's 3600, but I'm curious to see how this phone will work, this Quad HD display on the Phab 2 Pro. Is that something that a person actually wants, a 6.4-inch display phone? This Quad HD and everything is supposed to be really, really good. If you didn't see the broadcast, they were kind of focusing on Tango. Project Tango is no longer Project Tango, they labeled it. They're just labeling it Tango now, because they've moved on. They're saying that it's not really a project anymore. They've finalized it. It's done. They're going to go ahead and just label it Tango. They got a new logo. A bunch of different things have happened with that. So I don't know if I would pick up the Project Tango or the Project phone thing. It looks good. It's kind of, to me, it kind of, if you think about, they were saying that the average consumer wants something new. I don't think the average consumer wants a 6.4-inch phone. Yes, I'm in the US. I don't think, what's going on, Omar? Omar's commenting there. I'm in the US, yes. I don't think that the average consumer wants a 6.4-inch phone. What they want are phones like the iPhone SE. They want small phones like this, or phones like this. A smaller phone with a big battery and long-lasting battery and things like that. I don't think the average consumer actually wants a 6.4-inch display. They were talking also about how the Phab Plus 2 is the Project Tango thing. It's going to be hard to sell that to the average consumer, and I think what's going to happen is the techies are going to buy that phone. The techies will buy this 6.4-inch screen. There's not going to be a lot of consumers that are going to purchase a 6.4-inch display. That's ludicrous when you think about it. Who's going to want to carry around a 6.4-inch display phone? And it weighs like 200 grams. It's a big, chunky phone. So thinking about that, who in their right mind would purchase this phone? $500, I can start labeling off. Now, again, this video isn't to bash the phone or anything like that. It's just kind of, if you missed it, this is what I want to talk about at the moment, because I think this is something that's going to be important to the tech world, not so much the average consumer, like they tried to put it out there. They tried to say in the broadcast that the average consumer is going to love this phone, and it's just going to be a hit amongst the average consumer. I disagree with that, because the average consumer does not want a 6.4-inch display. How many people do you know walking around with a 6.4-inch display? I don't know very many at all. And if it is, it's their tablet. It's not their cell phone. They also demoed foldable displays. They demoed the girl. It was a girl. She's supposed to be this internet YouTube star. I have no idea who she is though. But they gave her the phone and it wrapped around her wrist. She was going to use it, and she said, "Well, I'll just put it away." And she wrapped it around her wrist, and it was a foldable display. Well, Samsung kind of demoed that last year. So I think they were just kind of trying to beat Samsung to the punch on that one. I don't know that Lenovo is going to pull that off. Here's another thing. All these phones and devices that they announced today, they don't come out anytime soon. I don't understand why OEMs do that. They get us all excited, and then they don't release the devices anytime soon. Like, that product is not coming to the US no time soon. You won't see this phone until, they're saying September, but I doubt that it'll be sooner than that. I mean, I don't even know that it's going to be that exciting to even purchase again. But the Moto Z is a phone that'll probably do very well. I think it's got a 5.2-inch display. They kind of left out. They just talked about how thin the Moto Z was, and then they left it at that. They brought it out right before the broadcast was ending, and then that was it. They didn't give us much of anything about it. They just talked about the Moto mods, pretty much. The device is what I wanted to know a lot about. battery specs and everything. I think it has a 3,400 or 3,000 milliamp hour battery in that little thin frame or something like that. But they just were kind of real shallow about or they didn't really talk about it, the Moto Z, very much. I was waiting for them to do that, but they really didn't. But the Moto Z might be a hot seller if it's priced right. But the Phab 2 Pro by Lenovo, I don't see the average consumer walking around with that device. I just don't see it. I don't know what consumer would even want a device that huge. I think that's it's a risk, but they're really pushing Project Tango, and that's about all I got from that, man. The rest of the broadcast was really boring. I was really falling asleep watching this broadcast. It just wasn't up to par, man. The overall, they kept bringing out Ashton Kutcher. I was like, why are they bringing this guy out? This guy probably knows nothing about technology. He's an actor, but they throw those big names in there. I guess they feel like that's going to help. Well, he's not a big name actor to me, but they throw those actors in there to try to get them to sell the products more. But the real focus should have been on the Moto Z and the Phab 2 Pro. The Phab 2 Pro, again, 6.4 inches, quad HD display, Project Tango. I think they released several versions of it, but I'm curious to see how this will sell in the US. Now they're saying that it's going to be available in the US, but their other device wasn't available in the US. They didn't do very good at all. So quick video on Project Tango, Moto Z, Phab 2 Pro. What do you guys think about it? I'm about to end this broadcast. It was real fast. I'll do more live broadcasts when I can. It's your man, Jay Will. I will see you in the next one. Take care.